We are taking a look at HabitatSpringfieldMo.org, the Habitat for Humanity website for Springfield, Missouri. And we're looking at how to add a FooGallery, and specifically we're wanting to look at how to have there be icons for sponsors. It's something that's a fairly common part of this website, and this is going to be a way that you can make it very easy to implement these icons, and then you know it's going to look right without ever having to worry about trying to do weird arrangement on the page. So hopefully this will be a helpful tutorial. So we go into galleries here, and we already have one created for the after party partners for an event that's coming up. And we have this one ready to go. We're going to take a look at the basics here in a moment of how to create one, though, too. We have this one ready to go. We're trying to look at how do we add these sponsors to a page over here for Habitat Home Run. So let's just start off a new one, and then we will eventually probably just use the one we already put together, but we'll go through this process. And we click Add Media here to add images to this gallery. And it happens to be that the images we need are all in a row here right on the top. And so then we can just select them all at once. You can also click through one by one, and if you needed to get rid of one, you do that. We got all those selected right there, okay? And then we click Add Media. Now they're all on there, and so then that's a part of that. That's the big thing you need to do. But then we use what's called Justified Gallery. We have these different templates, and you can play around with all of them, and that's perfectly fine. I think for your purposes, Justified Gallery is going to work best much of the time. And so we're going to make it so that we have, let's start off with a thumb height of 200, and then we're going to have a row height of 70 and set that to 150%. So you can just play around with those, but what we end up with here today will probably be something you can just copy the numbers and use it on your own later on, and that would be fine, or you can just play around with the numbers and see what looks right. But just so you know what each one of these things does, then the thumb height, what we're saying is this is the size of the image, but it's not the size of the image that shows up, just the size of the image that's being loaded onto the page. The row height then says this is how tall we want it to be ideally, and so then if you wanted it to be a really, really big image, then you would say a big number like 500 or 1,000. If you want it to be very tiny, you would say 40 or 50, and we want it to be just a little bit bigger than tiny, and so we're going with 70, and so that means it's 70 pixels tall, and then the width is set automatically through other means. And then we have this max row height that says that then depending on the situation, it can automatically go to different sizes, but the most we're going to allow it to go is 150% of what we're telling it right here. And so then the most it would go would be 105, because 70 plus 35 is 105. And then we have these margins down here, and they're saying how many pixels between each one, and we're going to say 30 because we want to have some nice space between them so we can recognize these different logos. And we have this caption part down here, and we're not going to be using captions in this anyway, so we'll be okay. But if we were going to, then we could have the attachment title be the caption for each one of these things. And then the thumbnail link, we're saying where do we want it to go to if you click on this. You could make it be a custom URL so that each one went to its own thing, so it linked back to that company's site. And if you were going to do that, I'm not going to get that implemented right now, but if you were going to do that, then you have this place here that says custom URL, and so then you could go to pricecutter.com, if that's their address. I assume that's their address, and then it would make it so when someone clicks on that, they go to that. And what we have it set on by default normally is just to go to the full-size image, look at a bigger version of that. Either way you want to do it is fine. And then once you have that all set up, then you click publish, okay? We'll go ahead and use this one. And so we'll call it After Party 2. And because we already made one like it before. So we've published that, and now it becomes a live gallery here in just a moment. There we go. And there's two different ways that you can insert this. You can copy it by here, just by clicking on it, then it automatically copies, and then you could paste it in wherever you want, and then it would show up there. But an easier and more natural way to do it is to come into the page where you're wanting it. So we have this After Parties Partner thing that you all had already set up before, and then we click Add FooGallery from up here. And then we have After Party 2, the one we just set up, and then we click Insert Gallery. Now, let's preview how that looks and see if this looks good. And here our page is, and they all look nice. They're all aligned perfectly, right? So what happens though if we go to a smaller size of page? Well, see, they just automatically will go into their right places, and they keep fitting in there nicely the whole way through. And they rearrange so they look good at whatever size. And they do their best to line up in a natural way, and they pretty much always do. So it looks good, and it's simple to do. and I think it's something you guys can catch on to pretty quickly. Now, I would have gone ahead and done all the other ones on this page, but I'm a little confused about where each one of these is supposed to be at underneath these different headings. So I'll go ahead and let you all do that, and you can go through and make your own new ones. You can look at the settings that we already have on these, and then you can just and then you can just copy that and do it for your own new one. There's not a duplicate function on this, unfortunately, so you just have to go back and look at them again, or you can just memorize what they are, and that would be fine too. Or you can do it differently on each one if you think they need to be different sizes for different portions of this. That's perfectly fine as well. So then overall, the way you're going to be having this is you'll have a line that says the sponsors area. You might even want to make it a little bit bigger and do it like a heading 3 type thing. Let's see if that looks a little better. Probably does. Yeah, and then you get a little bit bigger size there. But you can do it some other way too. Heading 2, just mess around. Try things out, see what it looks like. We'll see what looks best. And then you're going to, for each row, you're going to have in the center, you're going to have the title, so presented by, and then you're going to have those things underneath it. That's probably what goes underneath there, but I'm not 100% sure, so I'm going to leave it for now. Might not be arranged quite like that. And then you go through one by one, and you have a nice stack of all these, and then you have title, FooGallery, back and forth like that. And then once you want to make it live, all you got to do is click update, and it becomes live. And I'm going to leave that one on there right now, because I think it's something that works fine for what your purposes are. If you have any trouble with it, you can adjust it later on. I'm going to go ahead and delete the one that I had created originally so that we don't get mixed up on which ones are legit. And now that that one has been deleted, then we will go to the trash and we will delete it permanently because we don't want to have to dwell on the past. Okay, and like I said, you can do all sorts of other things with these and set them up with other images. They don't have to just be these icons. Set them up with whatever way you want. You have all these other options too. You can do all sorts of fancy things with them, and they're wonderful. The way that it's set up right now, by the way, is to go into a lightbox. A lightbox means you click on an image and then it goes into a separate, nice-looking slideshow. And it's no, it's not. It must not have been activated. I'll have to activate it here in a moment. But normally that's what it would be doing, and it would go into a nice-looking little slideshow thing if you click on it. But that should be all for right now. And if you have questions, be sure to text, email, call. We will help you out and make sure you get it all set up the way you need it to be set up.